I am going to let each of our panelists quickly introduce themselves and what their role is in the blockchain or technology space. We'll start with Mohammed.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Mohammed Salman Anjum. I'm the chief mate for Mate Soul. We do solutions with smart solutions with the integrity and intelligence. And the word integrity comes with obviously with the technology of blockchain. And secondly, I will be sharing a new role of mine by the end of this panel. So over to Ahmed.
And Mohammed is today playing the role of Dr. Mohammed Al-Mahari, who could not make it out of Sharjah, so he sends his regrets. So I have this Mohammed in his place. All right, Ahmed.
Hi everyone, my name is Ahmed Yousif. I'm here from Makkah Municipality in Saudi Arabia. I'm the head of digital transformation and strategy. We've been working in digital transformation, emerging technologies, projects, and I'll be sharing some of our success and some of our challenges, hopefully in the future will be a success.
All right, Dave.
Hi, my name is Dave Washburn. I'm CEO of nChain. You heard a little bit about nChain from Jimmy earlier. We're one of the leading R&D shops in the blockchain space, one of the global leaders in intellectual property. And right now we're in the process of building the gateway for real business and government to better control, optimize, and monetize data.
Thank you. Saeed.
Hi, everyone. My name is Saeed Alhebsi. I am from Ministry of Human Resource and Emiratisation. My role is AI advisory in the Undersecretary Assistant the Ministry. I am responsible about the transformation in the AI and the blockchain implementation in our ministry.
Hello, my name is Robert Rice. I am the CEO of Transmira. We develop a platform and technology for monetizing AR, VR, IoT, and other technologies together for smart cities. We're basically focusing on the platform, infrastructure, and application layers on top of blockchain.
So we're here today to talk more detail about how blockchain technology can be used to create applications that make public services better, as well as our communities and cities smarter and better. So let me start with this sort of general question related to Internet of Things. You've all heard about how IoT devices are going to grow exponentially around the world. It's estimated that by 2024 there will be 83 billion IoT endpoints around the world, 83 billion IoT endpoints around the world. And all of those will be collecting extreme scales of data. And I believe, as you heard in my speech, that blockchain technology is a better way to manage and monetize that data. So I want to ask our panelists, how do you see blockchain technology being used to help companies and consumers get more value out of this IoT data in a way that improves communities and our public? Mohammed?
We had a very disruptive year last year, and it has changed the landscape of digital transformation, accelerated the pace. So one single technology like IoT we just mentioned, so is not going to be the solution. The world needs Avengers kind of now combo, and the combo of technologies like IoT plus blockchain. So I call it BOT now, so blockchain of things. So how it will bring value to the public. Again, we have to go with the limitations of one technology, and it gets complemented with the other technology. So the limitations, there are plenty of advantages of IoT, but there are limitations like scalability, security, and then non-monetization aspect. And also there is another factor that can be complemented with the blockchain. So blockchain with the combination of IoT covers all these three gaps, monetize the data. We just mentioned that data has the new oil, and this is something possible with the combo of these two. So there is one example here in UAE, the application known as Dubai Pulse. It is, again, reinforced with the multiple technologies, IoT, AI, and blockchain. So again, different technologies bringing in different value proposition and bringing good for the public in one total solution. So it is for digital ID, it is for the e-services we all experience, and for the digital data, which is becoming a big data now.
Ahmed, tell us about any of the interesting blockchain projects that you're doing in your city.
Perfect. This is a good question. See, starting from the point of the data and its importance, working for the being in Mecca in Saudi Arabia, there is a lot of data of people coming for visitor to Hajj throughout the year. So that created a large amount of wealth of data. But at the same time, the use of this data was not something common before. I guess we used it in a legacy system. We used it to make KPIs and improve some services individually. But recently, we started looking into the blockchain to solve the entire ecosystem. We have this Hajj services. It's about 9 or 10 services that are provided by different government agencies requiring, for example, permits for the visitors, requiring things like the visitors need visas to come to the country. And all of this created a challenge because there are different agencies that coming to one place and they wanted to receive a service from one place. So when we started looking into the blockchain as project for this ecosystem, and we started with the intention of let's bring a POC, partner with a company from the private sector to come and show us how this could actually deliver value. As we talked about data, I always say that the journey to digital transformation is starting by bringing technology that generate data and using this data to create value. So the value that we received from just a simple short-term POC that has made us realize this is going to be a big game changer and is going to help us in providing the service in a faster way, secure way, and transparent way, and also bringing integrity to the whole process that we are looking into in bringing into our services. So in general, Jimmy, looking into a blockchain in the government as a service provider, as a, I guess, holder of a lot of data from the end users, looking to bring these services has created a lot of advantages and values for us, with not compromising, of course, the privacy of the citizens.
Let's go to Saeed. In the context of your Emiratisation work, how do you think data, particularly with blockchain technology, can make your work better or more efficient and improved?
Actually, here I just want to one step back. In 2017, in October, UAE government announced about the AI strategic. From that sense, we as a ministry, we focused to put ourselves in this agenda and this strategic. UAE strategic in 2013, they want to become a hub of AI and blockchain applications, either to showcases or to share the thoughts and their experiment. So in our ministry, we are divided in two roles. Ministry of Human Resources and Emiratisation. One part is taking care about the employees and employer, and the other part is about the Emiratisation and how support our Emiratisation program to the private sector. So here we became to enable our people to understand about the AI, the blockchain technologies. We started this journey since 2017. We are looking to this data and this blockchain technologies will help us to save our time, to save our effort, to make more efficiency to use this application, to help our Emiratisation program to reach their goal as soon as possible, to be part of this government strategic.
So for example, with your Emiratisation program, would having better data and better ways to use the data lead to better decisions to help support the Emiratis in their career paths?
Exactly.
Yeah. Let's go to Dave, because as I mentioned in my speech before this, nChain is working on a project to help a whole country, a small but mighty country, the island nation of Tuvalu, become completely paperless and have a national digital ledger. Will you tell the audience about that project and why you think that's going to be a leading transformative example for the world?
Yeah, thanks very much, Jimmy. So as Jimmy alluded to in his presentation earlier, at nChain we are working on a really ambitious project right now to carry out a complete digital transformation for a country. A lot of times right now people see traditional industries carrying out digital transformation, so banking, for example, and that's got its own unique challenges. But trying to do this for an entire country is definitely a big project, even though it's a tiny, tiny country. So we're really looking to do everything from payments, so taking cash to electronic, a CBDC-like project, all the way to the entire record-keeping process for the country. And one of the key elements here, and the reason that we think it's so important to use our platform for this, is the concept of interoperability of data. So being able to take data out of the silos, making sure that various ministries can communicate, can get a holistic version of the data associated with people, allows that country to better understand the data, better decision-making processes. The interesting part about this is that Tuvalu has a very unique motivation for this project. So Tuvalu is a collection of very small islands in the Pacific that are very low-lying. It's thought that Tuvalu could be the first nation really impacted by rising sea levels. So there's actually a chance that they need to relocate the majority or the entirety of the country. So having everything exist in a digital form first is really, really important in terms of being able to maintain identity, maintain culture, and this feeling that even though there may be a relocation, it's still the same country, the same people. One interesting fact back to the cash part of it, Tuvalu consistently runs out of physical cash. They need ships of hard currency coming from Australia. So there's a lot of motivation. We're excited about this project because it will serve as a great template for much bigger projects in other countries.
Yeah. Let me go back to Saeed quickly, because Dave mentioned the benefit of a government having data that's accessible between different, for example, ministries. Do you think that would help here in the UAE if the different ministries actually had access to common data?
If we are talking about the numbers, just numbers, every month we are doing more than 5,000 registration of the companies. We are doing more than 15,000 of application. We have more than 187 applications or services can ministry provided. So imagine if we have this data and we can use it to take the right decision to save the time, effort, and the money for our partnership in the private sector. So it will be huge of difference in this market also.
Yeah, a lot of efficiencies because of shared data.
Exactly.
Yeah, let's go to Robert and go to the virtual and augmented reality world. Tell us about your company and how it's using blockchain technology eventually in smart cities.
When we work with a lot of the interesting technologies like AR and VR, they're very visually oriented, they're very immersive, and they're very engaging. But when we bring in technology like blockchain to it, it begins to add a real sense of value to the data that you're working with. And whether it's a data visualization of government data or something else, it makes it much more easy to kind of look at and see, but also to interact with, and gives it more meaning and makes it more accessible beyond just data somewhere. And then, in the broader scheme of things, we start also integrating in other sources like IoT data from a particular building as opposed to some other large sets. This really kind of helps streamline things in terms of optimizing things, or really thinking about how cities are designed or planned, because you're at a building level that's tied to other buildings, that's tied to a city, and then the visualization pieces, whether it's for somebody on site interacting in AR or remotely interacting with the data sets in VR, it tends to open up entirely new possibilities for pretty much every industry vertical and market that's out there. But we can't really do that without the blockchain piece giving that trust, that history, that verification, and that validation.
Yeah, and everyone can see the same data at the same time. Yeah. Let's go back to Ahmed here. How do you think blockchain technology can help cities as well as whole countries achieve sustainability goals, since that's an important, priority?
So back to the IoTs and AI and the cities around the world, they have been implementing and bringing technologies and tools that collecting this data for a long time and make individual decision-making process. But it's, in most of my experience, it has never been a collective, broader view, a decision process based on relying on data, relying on what you can see. So recently, actually, Jimmy, we have created a small pilot project that using AI analytic cameras in vehicles going around the city, collecting data about violations and about potholes and problems, and then bringing this data in and share it with multiple government agencies. And this, at the end, you improving the quality of life, improving the process of making your decision faster, and as they say, data take emotion out of conversation. So when you are actually implementing your decision with the align it with what's actually needed in the ground, that create better service and faster results that will benefit everyone.
Yeah. So Mohammed, how do you think the private sector can help educate governments and government agencies to enable faster implementation of blockchain technology to help communities and cities?
I think that should be the first step for any PP or partnerships, private-public. So because normally private sector reach out to the government sector for some as a vendor. I think that should not be the right approach. The right approach is to first educate, because emerging technologies, we are talking about emerging technologies, they are like hard to first of all grasp what value they are going to bring in. So the first step should be orienting the value for this new technology, how the use cases will be fallen for that particular government entity, how the public will get benefit out of it. So eventually the business comes in. So the right step forward is to first orient the decision makers who have the capacity to make big decisions and create the impact for the masses. So rather than approaching them for sales, let's approach for learning and orientation first.
Okay. Saeed, this is an investment conference. So how do you think the investors in the audience and watching online can support private ventures that would actually help government implementation?
Actually, we are, as a government, we open initiative, it's calling acceleration program. I think you guys heard about it. This acceleration program, the ministries, as a ministry or other ministries, they appoint their challenges, and where they are looking from the private sector to invest with them to proof of concept of one of these technologies. So always here as a ministries and as a government, they are looking to partnership and open their doors to partnership with investors, with the big companies, to proof of their concept and make their challenges and make more than efficiency to their implementation.
So Robert, obviously, because this is an investment conference and you're a company looking to raise capital, tell the investment audience why, for example, you've chosen to use Bitcoin SV as the blockchain for your project and why that should incentivize them to want to invest in your business.
I think there's a couple of pieces. First, everything that we're doing is really focused on monetization and really taking the cities of today into being the smart cities of the future. And to do that, there's really only technically one blockchain that's sufficiently capable of scalability, speed, and expense. If you talk to anybody in my particular industry that's not using Bitcoin SV, they have not done their technical due diligence or homework, and they're setting themselves up for failure. And I'd love to argue that with anybody. So.
And Dave, so obviously nChain is a key company in the Bitcoin SV space. It's looking to grow. Why do you think investors and other businesses should be paying attention to supporting or working with BSV?
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. In terms of nChain specifically, we've been really fortunate to be very well funded so far. We've been around for about 5 years and have developed, a really important suite of intellectual property. And we're now at the point of turning that IP into actual products. So right now we're already an 8-figure revenue company, but we're at the inflection point right now where we think there's a tremendous amount of growth ahead of us. So when I talk to investors, and prior to joining nChain, I had a career in capital markets, so I'm well versed in the desires of professional investors. And number one, it's about how do they get their money back, and then number two, it's how do you get a return on that. So we've really de-risked the platform as BSV has become de-risked, and we're now at this point of being able to launch a suite of products that I think is going to be multiple 8 figures in revenue. We think about return on invested capital as being an absolute priority. So every decision we make, we're trying to figure out how we get the money back and how we get a return on that money.
All right, thank you. Yes, absolutely. So I want to thank our panelists for having this conversation with us about public services, communities, and smarter cities with blockchain technology. We at our Bitcoin Association from the BSV world are very committed to growth of blockchain technology around the world, but particularly in this region where we know that community, city, and government projects are very important. So I'm pleased to announce today that Mohammed Salman Anjum will be leading the launch for us of a BSV hub for the Middle East and South Asia, based here in Dubai, to work with people in this room and outside to really further the growth of the Bitcoin SV blockchain, particularly for government, community, and city usage. So talk to him if you want to learn more, and thank you for your attention very much. And I hope you explore more about how blockchain can really help improve life in all communities. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.